Welcome to episode 1 of Private Thoughts of a Public School Teacher. My name is Teresa Newman, a former public school band director and music teacher. And if you know me from TikTok, you know exactly what my bag is, but I am extremely opinionated and loudmouthed, which is exactly why I will never be able to teach in a public school classroom again. Which brings me to exactly why I thought starting this podcast was not only important, but absolutely essential for the public school teacher community. And that is, when it comes to First Amendment rights, public school teachers are essentially second-class citizens. When you sign a contract to work with a public school district, you essentially sign away all rights to participate in the conversation. For a profession that is so politicized for us, teachers are not allowed to participate in politics. Not even the heavy stuff like school boards and like running for office. I'm just talking about simple conversations in mixed company, simple conversations on social media about things like curriculum, about things like gun violence in schools. Everything is off the table for us. And other people that are making rules for us are telling us what we should and should not be saying out loud. I just recently saw a young lady that was on TikTok saying how she was recently fired from her teaching job because she went on social media and talked about how gun violence is affecting her and her students. And this was after the most recent shooting that we had. The school district did everything that they could to make her feel like she was putting people in harm's way by expressing her opinion. They even expressly stated that the reason why she was being let go is because she was giving away secrets that the district had on safety plans and escape plans when there's an active shooter situation. And you can clearly see from the content that she was talking about that that was not what she was addressing in her TikTok videos that got her fired. This happens not just once or twice, but all the time. Teachers are let go because they go online and they talk about the things that affect them and their students the most. And I, frankly, have had it. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not participating in that system anymore. Now, I have torpedoed my profession as a classroom teacher so that I can get online and spout off about the politics of public school. I am privileged to be able to do that. And I know that I am a select few of teachers that were able to quit their classroom job and be an advocate outside of the classroom for teachers. That is my new mission. I am not necessarily concerned about whether or not people find me professional, or if you think that I am teachery enough for you. That is not what I'm here for. If you want teachery, you can go find other teachers online that are doing that sort of thing, but that's not what we're here for. The mission of this podcast is to give other teachers that do not have the privilege that I have right now to have a voice. Obviously, their voice will be anonymous when they are on this podcast. I will be reading stories and anecdotes from teachers on both sides of the political spectrum and give you an honest viewpoint of what's going on in the classroom. Because let's be real. The reason why they don't want us talking about it on social media is because they want to save face. They don't want us talking about how bad it actually is and what the real issues are. I'm going to make sure that I'm providing you a safe space to tell everyone else what's actually going on in our public school classrooms. Another thing that I actually in earnest would like to do is give everyone that is on the left side of the political spectrum that either is a public school teacher currently or just follows the politics of public school or my content in general, that I would like to give you an opportunity to hear from teachers that might not vote the same way as you or me. I actually have one teacher that sent me some of her thoughts on the current landscape of politics and public school in America right now. I think you might find that interesting. I want to hear from teachers that are blue that live in red states. I want to hear from teachers that didn't vote for Donald Trump, that are currently teaching in rural red conservative counties. I also would like to hear teachers that maybe have been let go because they went on social media and talked about politics, or they went to a school board meeting to try and advocate for something and then got let go because of that. I definitely want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from teachers that have gotten into fights with parents. I want to hear from teachers that have, had good relationships with students and have given up on students. I want to hear from teachers that are miserable in their job. I want to hear teachers that are absolutely just having the time of their life being a classroom teacher. I want to hear from everybody. If you would like to contribute, I will be giving you all the links necessary to do that. There's going to be a Google form that you can fill out if you want to make it easy for yourself, or you can email me. If you followed me here from TikTok, this does not feel comfortable for me. I've already talked about this on TikTok, how TikTok gives you kind of a built-in safe space to express yourself without knowing that somebody from your hometown or somebody from your old job found you, or somebody from the old school district that you used to work at found your video. I don't have that veil of security here, and that scares me a little bit. But I think what's most important is that we are reaching people that need to hear this message. There is so much propaganda about the public school system being pushed right now from people that have never set foot in a public school classroom. And they are the loudest voices in the room. So we're going to change that. We're going to change that immediately. Today, I have a couple of stories and anecdotes for you. When I read these, they're going to be anonymous. You're going to hear where they're from, what grade level they teach, what content area they teach. That is all the personal information you're going to get from these people. I will try very, very hard. I will do everything I possibly can to make sure that you remain anonymous. That means that nobody from your school district will find out what you're saying. We're going to start with an anecdote from a former high school ASL teacher and current university teacher in Atlanta, Georgia. They say this is a story about how a lot of disabled teachers are discriminated in the public school system. Over 5 years ago, I was hired to teach ASL at a high school that had a DHH program, deaf and hard of hearing. I was the first ever Black deaf teacher ever hired, and none of the students, including the DHH students, ever saw or met a deaf teacher. During my ASL class, I would tell the interpreters that they won't be needed because I teach voices off, so no reason to translate. All the interpreters love it, except for an older white woman interpreter. During my class, she would tell the students that I was doing the wrong signs because that's not how she learned it. She would tell the students to ask her for clarification. I repeatedly told her to stop doing that, and it's very rude. I told the students, please direct all your questions and concerns to me as your teacher. The interpreter did not stop. I confronted her again in email and person that she needs to stop this behavior. It's very disrespectful, and she does it again and again. Actions will be taken against her. And from the follow-up conversation that I had with this person, it sounds like this is not the first time that that's ever happened to her. None of that surprises me, to be honest. If you currently teach ASL, or if you currently teach any special education programs in your public school, I most certainly want to hear from you. My next submission comes from a high school ELA and journalism teacher in Illinois. All right, guys, this is our first submission from a self-proclaimed conservative public school teacher. Just a disclaimer, I am not giving any of my personal thoughts or opinions on these submissions. When you submit something to me, I read it exactly how you send it to me, and I don't add anything onto that other than stuff that you've already told me. All right, so this ELA teacher and journalism teacher in Illinois says, I am not Trump supporting, but I am a conservative. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. But I do feel like some kind of change needs to happen. I teach high schoolers, and they do not have the skills they need, nor do they believe they will need those skills. I also fear that sometimes we are not holding students accountable because they have bad homes or trauma or some mental health needs. While these things are important to consider and make accommodations for, things are out of control. I have seniors who think because they have anxiety or because they have to work that they should be allowed to turn in work whenever they want, or that they should just be allowed to pass or skip a class because they will never use that class in real life. That is not preparing them for the real world. I do believe that students should be allowed to pray in school and the Bible be in school, but I also think that should be true for all religions. I will also say that if the majority of the class wants a prayer at graduation, it should be allowed. I teach parts of the Bible as part of my British Lit class. It is taught as literature. We look at the elements of literature when it is taught. I try to teach critical thinking, that sometimes there is no right or wrong answers. I also teach that before standing on a belief or having an argument, we should do research, find real facts, and listen to the opposition. Politics show up in education, but I try not to let my personal beliefs change my classroom. I do abstain from conversations if I know I cannot stay neutral. I also play devil's advocate to encourage students see both sides of an issue. I do not align with a lot of what most of either party has to say about a lot of things. Education should provide equity as much as possible. I believe IEPs are needed, but sometimes they are used or put in places because students are lazy or have not been held accountable. I had an IEP, and because of good educators, I was taught skills to help me be successful. My son also has an IEP, and he is pushed and challenged every year. I take away accommodations that are no longer needed. The Department of Education needs an overhaul. Our system is failing. I do not know how to fix all of it, but I know in part lack of accountability and the desire to have right and wrong answers is part of the problem. The 9th through 12th graders I teach lack critical thinking skills, retention skills, study skills, and heavily use AI and cheat to make sure they get good grades. I also would like to say that I teach in a very conservative county. My district has been working very hard the last 2 years to create an environment where our students feel welcome. We have brought back a lot of pre-COVID activities. We also strive to help them with social and emotional skills. While we are a conservative county, we look at what is best for the students. We have a Christian club at school along with several other clubs. We still have a moment of silence every morning. I wanted to say that not all conservative teachers bring their beliefs to the classroom or agree with everything that the Republican Party wants to do with education. For the most part at my district, we want to get back to teaching life skills, college skills, and critical thinking. I would also say that most teachers I know on either side want to teach without walking on eggshells and fearing that holding students accountable will get us in trouble. All right, you heard it here. So I will sign off today by saying happy holidays. If you just found me, you hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on your notifications so you get the next episode of Private Thoughts of a Public School Teacher. And if you have a submission, if you have any thoughts that you know for certain that you couldn't say with your name attached to it on social media and you want to sound off on it here, get in touch with me. Email me at newmanmusicacademy@gmail.com. You can also submit on the Google form in the video description below. And also, just in case the TikTok ban doesn't go through, make sure to follow me there at Newman Music Academy. And, just for the heck of it, if you've got Blue Sky, I'm on Blue Sky at Newman Music Academy. Before I let you guys go, on a personal note, I want to say the reason why I started this podcast on December the 23rd is because it's my late mother's birthday, and this is my first Christmas spending it without her. So I'm dedicating this episode to Priscilla, and we miss her a lot, and this is for you. Until next time, stay loud and stay obnoxious. And when you're in the classroom, teach what you know the kids need to teach, not what the politicians tell you they need to know. Bye.